You're gonna have to split up because we disabled healing, but our stims can heal everyone within 5 meters now. Doesn't work? Oh, just wanted to let you know that it works, just not today. Alright, so we've had a fair amount of people bringing up the fact that random stratagems can get pretty janky, or they can just not work at all. Yes, split up. When you maintain close proximity to squad members, armor and contested health restoration are disabled. So that is when you are close. There is also a condition doing the same thing except the opposite. Basically, you can only heal and get armor back when you are together. So basically, there are two position conditions that, in my personal opinion, I don't enjoy very much. I don't like the fact that we have to be in a certain position to either get heals or armor. It should be one or the other. It shouldn't be both, in my opinion. I just think that is way too punishing for teams that aren't very aware of their teammates. However, you should be very aware of your teammates. Still, though, I just think, yeah, the split-up conditions, the position conditions, in my opinion, I just think they're very janky and a little bit too punishing. I don't really like arbitrary conditions like that, you know? I would much rather have them spawn a biovore whenever we use an elevator, which obviously could be just as annoying, but still, yes, split up is definitely a condition people have been criticizing recently. There's been a lot of posts about this, especially considering that it's awkward with other conditions. Like, dude, I don't understand how the devs missed that, to be completely honest. We saw a lot of the conditions. There are 40 new conditions, so eventually some of these are going to contradict with each other, but I don't understand why the devs basically go out of their way, in a sense, to make some of these stratagems a little bit more janky with these janky conditions. Like, dude, split up. Honestly, who wants to play around how far or how close you are to certain teammates when we have classes in this game that literally basically boost you away from your teammates? Like, you know, the assault jetpack, grapple for Vanguard. It's very silly, in my opinion, to put in conditions that can directly contradict other conditions. I don't really know how the devs, honestly, I really don't know how the devs can do anything to help this besides just taking them out. You know what I mean? It's weird. Nobody liked it during lethal. Nobody likes it during hard stratagems, normal stratagems, whatever, you name it. I don't like these conditions. I think, to be completely honest, though, these conditions are tedious. They're not super punishing. Well, I guess they are pretty punishing, considering they are trying to punish your armor and health. So I think the devs need to go back. They need to take out the health situation for that. They need to take out the nerfed health healing. I think they need to keep the armor. If they want to keep these position conditions in the game, they should keep the armor part of it and then take out the health part of it, or take them out altogether. PSA, bots are affected by the split up modifier and can't be disabled in stratagems, making soloing a mission with said modifier extremely difficult to borderline impossible. For those unaware, split up is a new modifier added in patch 11 that disables armor and contested health gain when nearby team members. It's so silly, dude. Look, I think the armor regeneration, sure, maybe just nerf that for this condition. Contested health, dude, like, we've already had enough issues with contested health. Man, some of these modifiers, I feel like they made them like months ago, you know, and then never made a second look at it. Bots tend to teleport to the player and stay close, so you basically can't gain armor or contested health unless you run from them. Okay. Yeah, dude, that's clearly very janky. Clearly very janky. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. This is like the first time where I feel like the devs did something not deliberately wrong, but yeah, they definitely dropped the ball. Yeah, there we go. It's not a deliberate mistake. It's not a mistake through their own lack of skill or something. It's a mistake through their lack of attention, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, we definitely have to cover this. We definitely have to let you guys know about this condition that you probably already know about. And, yeah, to be honest, the devs definitely need to switch something with these conditions. I don't like these conditions, man. Like, seriously, yesterday I was kind of raging in my head because I'm just like, dude, these conditions aren't fun. Like, can you just take out split up and the other one? Just take out both of these. Squad unity, right? Squad unity and split up. Take them out, or make sure they only affect armor. I think that's fine. If they only affect armor, that's fine. That's at least some sort of arbitrary position thing that you need to play around that doesn't just completely destroy you if you're out of position. Man, with how much we already struggle with contested health and healing in this game, these conditions feel tedious at least, and really punishing at worst. Saber introduced far too many untested modifiers in this patch with absolutely no thought into how it works with their maps or other core things like bots. Yeah, it feels like we basically, in the PTS, we don't really have that many people to kind of bounce off of when it comes to like grinding dailies and everything like that. A lot of times we're just jumping in solo, and yeah, I'm genuinely speaking for myself, I guess, if I saw one of these conditions in the PTS, I likely avoided them, probably. I can tell you right now, I don't like the conditions that force you into a certain playstyle, I guess. It depends. It depends. It's one thing to be like, hey, sidearm damage is buffed. I think that's pretty cool, to be honest. It's another thing where it's like, dude, if you are 5 meters away from your teammate, you are going to get a status effect that's going to slowly drain your health. It's like, what? Can you have a condition that actually applies to the fight? I mean, I get it. Like, sure, positioning is very important in this game, but that's why it's kind of weird that the devs kind of mess around with it in this condition. You know what I mean? It's like positioning is so important. It feels weird that devs are making it a punishment, essentially. I mean, dude, I hate the position conditions more than armor malfunction. I really do. I don't, like, if you're dodging and you take some damage for your armor, that's, yeah, it's annoying, but you can perfect dodge and it won't hurt you, which is great. And not to mention, there's certain classes that can play around this. There's not a class in this game that wants to see split up. You know what I mean? I mean, at the very least, I guess it's something. Like, Squad Unity, when we were playing Squad Unity, I was dropping Banner, and that would bring my teammates closer to me, and then, yeah, I can heal their armor and everything. With Split Up, I'm just not too sure how you're supposed to communicate with your team, like, hey, guys, we're supposed to be split up, like, all the time. But this could be Obelisk, right? Like, can't you have Split Up in Obelisk, and since you guys are supposed to, you know, travel together, it's just going to make Obelisk that much more punishing? I don't know. I don't like these position conditions. I really don't. I think they're just too tedious, to be honest. And yeah, untested is a word for it for sure, but I'm not too sure if the PTS actually had any of these contradiction conditions. Split apart is borderline impossible for Obelisk. Yeah, I was just talking about that. On hard stratagems, I somehow beat it first try, but that was because the RNGesus blessed us with almost a full skip of the tomb. Oh, huge. Dude, honestly, Obelisk goes by so fast. People hate Obelisk, but once you understand how to get through it, dude, it is the fastest operation. Otherwise, you're pretty much forced to always put the relic on an altar and force the entire team to take turns stepping in and out of the radius just to not lose all your HP. Yeah, that's silly. That's silly. That is so silly. Dude, take it out. Take it out of the game or make it only affect armor. This is so silly, dude. I'm, like, literally getting tilted. The Tyranid Prime fight when the, yeah, exactly, yes, the electrified arena, your entire team is forced to stay together in the middle. Yep, just completely, the devs seriously just don't really comprehend that, I guess. Dude, oh my gosh, I am getting so mad. If it was like tight formation and you could still recover your contested health, it wouldn't be so bad, but all damage taken is immediately removed from your HP bar. Dude, the only thing that really makes me mad about this is the fact that it is affecting contested health when we've already been through so much with talking about contested health and how much of a pain it has been recently because of grab attacks and things like that. You know, missing ammo and assault, that one hurts. I also found out that the modifier that buffs your primary but also nerfs your secondary applies to assault and bulwark too. Oh gosh, oh my gosh, so that means, yeah, that means they're just range nerf. Say goodbye to ever regaining contested health back on a hard stratagem for those two classes. Well, hold on, relax. Be at least a little bit specific here. say goodbye to regaining contested health at a reasonable rate with this condition applied, okay? Relax. Not every hard stratagem is going to be impossible now because there's a condition that can nerf the range damage of Bulwark and Assault without any sort of, give and take. That's unfortunate, for sure. All it does is nerf their damage. It doesn't give them a benefit for it. Yeah, that's annoying. I agree. That condition, though, I still am not, super concerned with. I'm more concerned with things like Split Up in Reclamation, Split Up in Obelisk. That is obviously a huge oversight on the devs, and I definitely wanted to cover that just to kind of, let you guys know that. I'm trying not to be angry. I don't think I'm angry about it, to be honest, but I am disappointed. I fully expect this community is going to discover something similar to the bug with extraction and the no equipment modifier probably every day for the next couple of weeks. I don't know if it'll be every day, but it could be. We had some pretty rough dailies, I will say that much. But yeah, I haven't checked the dailies today. I'm gonna jump into dailies today. Look, you know what's crazy about this? This is super frustrating, but I still am very, very much looking forward to playing the game every day. I've been playing patch 11 basically just casually after recording all of the videos for the day. Seriously, if I have some extra time to game, I'm not jumping on to Silksong or anything. I'm jumping on to Space Marine 2 again to try out some different things. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I really do like patch 11 right now. It is the drip and fun patch. However, let's try to start to balance out some of the fun, yeah? I presume it's more of a case of them not considering it rather than an active choice. Yeah, no, well, it's not a choice. Yeah, they're clearly not trying to brick dailies. However, this is something that escaped them, for sure. The devs don't look at the game through the perspective of the players at the moment. I feel like the devs are trying to create a punishing atmosphere in this game, at least for higher difficulties, which I think they've already cleared, to be completely honest. And in my opinion, this is definitely something that they just missed, which is unfortunate. And they definitely deserve some criticism for it because people aren't having fun. So, at the very least, I feel like hard stratagems need to be punishing, but they also need to be within the realm of some sort of entertainment. But still, you know what? Squad Unity wasn't that bad with Bulwark. Maybe if I jump into Split Up with the Assault class or something, maybe it's not that bad. But as we mentioned, it's more so about how it layers over other conditions and other missions that kind of require you to group up. That is where the disappointment comes from. When it comes from the community here, criticizing these, these choices or these lack of choices or the oversights or whatever. Yeah, we're mostly just disappointed that the devs didn't catch on to this, despite this happening in the past. They definitely deserve criticism here. Saber really penalizes people playing with bots. I guess. At the very least, the bots don't have team perks, right? So that'll do it. It's a similar situation to respawns being disabled when you're using AI teammates, which again, I assume is unintentional. The mission fails if all players are dead, but doesn't take into account that your AI-controlled Marines might still be fighting. I don't want to jump into a game with bots, die twice, and go into respawn, and watch the bots fight. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's nearly as comparable to the current condition situation. I think, sure, if you really wanted to respawn in those missions, I just queue it back up, man. Look, the bots shouldn't beat the game for you, right? I presume there aren't that many people who only play with bots, admittedly. I do, but that's largely due to not knowing when I might have to abruptly stop mid-mission. Oh, okay, yeah. That's definitely a fair way to approach this, for sure. So it's not a huge priority for them, but at the same time, it feels like you're unnecessarily penalized for playing with them normally, let alone when stratagems come into play. I think they need to give bots team perks, for sure. I do. I think they should. That would make playing with bots so much more enjoyable. I don't even care if bots have invigorating icon. I just want my Bulwark bot to also have advanced conditioning. I don't want my Bulwark bot to carry. I just want some tools to play with, essentially. We're already at a disadvantage when using AI teammates, but things like the above and bots always being at level 1 with no perks. Okay, look, level 1 bots, they can tank a lot. Bots are useful for one thing. That is tanking damage to pick you up. And I believe also only starting weapons. No. They leveled up the weapons. The weapons are leveled up. make it significantly worse beyond what I feel is needed. This is a pretty interesting comment. I mean, I think, sure, bots definitely can be improved, and yeah, they can be improved in the attempt to make it a little bit easier to solo some of these stratagems. Sure, I agree with that. I just don't think the bot issue is tantamount to the current condition issue, because having conditions basically contradict each other means certain dailies are just not going to be fun and people aren't going to play them. That's not where the devs want their game. The devs really should be trying to, you know, approach dailies to have like 6 distinct, very fun dailies. Not just like, oh, there's 2 here that are worth it, 2 here that are too punishing, and 2 here that are bricked. Like, no, we have to fix some of this. That's the whole point of the game mode. It's give and take, some reasonable, some not. If you don't like it, then play regular operations, siege, or skip it. I'm not too concerned with skipping a daily, to be completely honest. If we have a daily that is too much of a headache, sure, skipping it isn't that big of a deal. You're only losing out on like 15 to 10 accolades, whatever. I think this would be a much larger problem if we saw this in weeklies, which hopefully the devs are paying attention to, and we won't see this during weeklies, sure. However, I still think dailies overall need to be able to avoid some of these situations, again, just so we have 6 meaningful dailies and not like 2 good ones, 2 terrible ones, and 2 bricked ones. That would be terrible. You know what I'm getting at here. Give and take. See, that's the other thing about this, is some people noticed that there were certain conditions that said, hey, you can't refill your contested health. For example, the one where it's like you have no respawns, but you basically you don't get a mortal wound. So you can keep going down over and over again, but you can't heal your contested health. Now, apparently on some of those missions, you can heal with a stim, but I've also seen people say that you couldn't heal with a stim. Regardless of what is actually the situation, the description says contested health. So it really doesn't make sense where it's just ignoring all heals. Like, split up, if it says contested health on the description, things like unmatched zeal or invigorating icon, that should still work. If that is the case, then maybe split up wouldn't be that big of a problem. However, yeah, some of these descriptions don't say the entire story. We've talked about this recently. So sure, maybe there's some give and take. Regardless, the descriptions have to do what they are saying at the very least. But yeah, sure, you can skip dailies, that's all good. I don't think the devs are going to add these in weeklies, fine. But give and take, let's get an accurate description first, and then we can discuss give and take, you know what I mean? But yeah, obviously this has been bugging me a little bit. The more I see these position conditions, the more I'm like, well, I'm not jumping into that one. Like, it's annoying because it could have like 1 or 2 interesting conditions, but then it'll have split up or squad unity, and it'll just completely ruin it. But yeah, that's from a fun standpoint. You guys did see me play within squad unity playing Bulwark. I guess if I'm playing around split up, maybe I'll be using Vanguard and Assault. It might not be that big of a deal, but as you can see, some of those conditions are contradicting each other. That is where this is getting pretty annoying, because these are issues that came up before in patch 10 that effectively bricked 1 daily, which again isn't the biggest issue in the world. However, you can definitely see the potential of annoying the player base with this, and a lot of people are very annoyed. So yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.